in my practice, I believed in that complete holistic approach of treating patients, not just the numbers or the insurance based, reimbursed based model. So, because the podcast is that subject, I have to introduce myself to people who hear my story. So, I'll backtrack and take a fast forward approach from the time I was born in India and Indian Eastern culture a little bit, and who was responsible to be uh, to me to become a medical doctor to start with. Many years ago, I was born in India to an Orthodox Brahmin family. Um, People are slowly beginning to understand what Brahmin is, but a lot of people are abusing that also now, the name Brahmin. Even in this country, it was confined to India, now it's sparking all over the world, the Brahmin business. I'm a Brahmin by birth myself. So and then I grown up with that type of values, which was deeply embedded. And I also felt many times that, many times, thousand times, or a million times, that I am a superior creature because I was a Brahmin. Anyway, my schooling was in Andhra Pradesh, and that's why I know Telugu. And another, my mother tongue is so-called Kannada, Kannada. Kannada. People think it's Canada. It's not Canada, but it's Kannada. That's my mother tongue. And these are all South Indian languages. I'm a Southerner, so-called Southerner. Just like here, South and North and South, they're also same politics, Northerner and Southerners. And generally, Northerners felt they are superior. Southerners even today think they are more superior. That battle is going on there, and same thing, similar to this. Now, that battle thankfully ended in this country, but there are some other conflicts here. Let's talk about it later on. So other languages I know is of course English because that was the medium of instruction for us, starting some people starting in my case high school, and then Malayalam is similar to Tamil, so I can understand that, and almost all the languages of India, including North, South, East, West, everything composes the root language called Sanskrit, which contains almost 40 to 60% of the words in all the rest of the basic languages in India. Based on that, I know many languages, but after Andhra Pradesh, I went to a place called Udupi where I had to switch my education to Kannada medium language. Then I caught up English also, and all my life I wanted to become an engineer, not doctor. But my father, when I had an engineering interview in Chennai, I had simultaneously engineering and medical interview same day, same time. My father suspected that I will do some monkey business and go to engineering and college rather than medical interview. So he came from a remote village just to make sure that I went to the right interview, because you cannot change the interviews. When it comes, you have to take it. If you don't take it, you lose it. With that in mind, uh, and then in front of him, just face to face, I told him, I want to become an engineer, Daddy, because that's what is in my blood. Fixing everything, improving it, how the things, mechanical things work, figuring it out, and deciphering everything was all my interest during my childhood. But in the entire in my entire life, that is the only day my father gave me a direct order, face to face with his right index finger, pointed at my nose, almost like Lyndon B. Johnson. If you want to see his museum, you have to go to Austin, Texas, Lyndon B. Johnson's library. That type of a gesture. He told me, uh, Bhaskar, I want a doctor in my family, and you are going to become a doctor. That's it. Because my older brother was already got admission to engineering college in so-called very prestigious engineering college in India. So anyway, so I finished my training, and then a opportunity came to come to this country because of the height of Vietnam War. Uh, there was an opportunity to come to America. Though during my days, the gold standard was to get MBBS, that is the degree in India, Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery, MBBS. After that, they will do a postgraduate in internal medicine field if they are lucky enough to get admission to those disciplines, and that is called MD. In this country, when I came, I automatically got MD because they don't use the word MBBS in this country because patients don't know what MBBS means. Lot of a fun thing in India is lot of people uh, in India, when you get the degree MBBS, they used to say member of Big Batok Society MBBS. So that means they're big shots. So anyway, after MBBS, if you don't get MD, or even if you get MD admission in India postgraduate another 2 years for a specialist training, people like to go to England. Why? In England, they offer postgraduate course for Indian graduates called MRCP, Member of Royal College of Physicians. There are two. One is from London and one is from Edinburgh or something like that. So some people go to both the places, take the exam and pass, and they to display their signboards in India. Doctor so and so. They also used MBBS, comma MRCPE, that means Edinburgh, and MRCPL for London. So more titles you have in front of your name, more big shot you are, and more prestige and high. You can charge more fees, and you are elite in a high social circuit. That's exactly what I wanted. That's what exactly what I dreamed of doing. But but I didn't have money to do all those things. All those things needs money. Even to go to England, you need money. My father gave me 100% of my education. Not even one single red cent I used. Used by moonlighting or doing some work like what these kids do in this country for any kind of a degree, obtaining any kind of a postgraduate, even an undergraduate degree today. So with that in mind, Vietnam War was on the peak. Lyndon B. Johnson was the president at that time, and uh, we had a there was a loop. They made a special concession for foreign graduates to come there, passing a simple exam called ECFMG, Educational Council for the Foreign Medical Graduates. So there was a fee for it. Everything was waived in my case. I said I'll come here and give the money. They agreed. I said I don't have a ticket. They sent me a ticket, and then I had to pay back, of course. And that payment was there even that time. And then so on and so forth. So I took the exam. I walked to a place there, and 1.5 day exam or something like that. And then there is a so-called English aptitude test. You have to pass that too, because a lot of people who come from foreign country, these patients can't even understand their accent or English. So we have to pass that. No big deal. I passed all of them in flying colors. I applied many places, and I got admitted. And I went to I landed in New York, to start my internship again. We did internship there. Again, we had to do it here. So whatever it is, it's done. And then I got internal medicine boards, etc. I got married. Then I thought Brooklyn is not a good. I mean, New York City is not a good place to raise children. Naturally, after marriage, next step is have some children of your own kind, your own blood, so to say. So I convinced my wife, and we moved down south. There I worked for because to start off practice, you need capital. Again, I didn't have that much capital and guts to do that. So I worked in a veterans hospital for about 5 or 6 years. And then one Jewish doctor, junior to me, who was trained in Brooklyn, New York, was, out of the blue discovered me uh, from a newspaper or something that I'm in the same area. It's called Tidewater area, where I was working in the VA hospital. So he out of the blue he calls me. He said, Bhaskar, why are you rotting there and doing work in the VA hospital for such a small amount of money? Come over and start practice and I will support you, something like that. So I started my private practice and I worked drove about 100 miles a day, going to several hospitals to build up my practice. That was not oncology practice to start with. The person told me that he will send me oncology and hematology patients, but there were very few, particularly hematology. I didn't have a training in medical oncology at all, and there was not even a specialty called medical oncology at that time. With that in mind, I started. I got an rental office somewhere in Virginia, and then we had to think about strategic location for all those things. A lot of logistics of starting an office, and I learned everything by my own. Location should be convenient to the patients to come, things like that, and referral base also should be convenience to the referral base, because medical oncology is entirely a referral practice. So suddenly then I started my practice, and this so-called Dr. Sachs, Martin Sachs, he was a Jew, but he was from foreign Jew. He is from European country somewhere, and he himself was a foreign medical graduate, I presume, and he has a some Scandinavian wife named Moritz or something like that. But anyway, why I'm mentioning is I'm going to write a story about him also later on. But he also died from cancer, but his cancer was a prostate cancer advanced. That's how he died. And he is the one responsible for making me a start a medical practice and encouraged me to start treating cancer patients of solid malignancy. In malignancy means cancerous tumors. There are two kinds. One is called those days there was two branches. One is called hematological malignancy. Other one is oncological malignancy. I was only trained in hematological treating adult hematological malignant problems. Those included even today malignant lymphoma, leukemias. There are two kinds, acute and chronic, and all subdivisions are there. I had fair good experience in treating them all as I was getting training in Brooklyn VA Hospital in New York. But since it's a VA hospital, don't have too many female patients. I had absolutely no contact with breast cancer patients at that time. And also there was no specialty as a solid malignancy fields were not there. So coming back to the solid malignancies, common tumors were lung cancer, 90, most of them smoke related, and colorectal cancer, and others like stomach and pancreas and miscellaneous cancers. So a few lung cancers, colon cancer, etc. Also, I used to see them in VA Brooklyn Hospital, but that not too many, and there is no specific treatments. They were also similar to The hematological malignancies, cancer medicines were very few, and they were all 50 to 20% effective for various cancers. And we tried the same thing in solid malignancies. Just whatever you are, the patients agree. You're a doctor. You're a doctor. That's it. So that's how it went on. Then I came to Tidewater area, 6 years in VA hospital, then private practice. This goes on and on. Those days, different system, their healthcare system was different. So longer the patient stays in the hospital, better for the hospital. They used to choose room charge, that charge, this charge, and they had to do. They didn't even have to do anything. You write a note as above, as above, as above. Everything. Waiting for an X-ray, waiting for something, waiting for disposal. Patient doesn't. Disposition means a discharge, but there is no place for him to go. So you're waiting for a nursing home, something like that. So it went on. Then the whole healthcare system and the electronic computerization, etc., started. With that, the business people took charge of it, and doctors even lost their control. But all the blames, even today, get all the healthcare business. The worst guy is the doctor. But doctor has no guts, no union, no integrity of his own or her own, and that's why the other people can easily exploit the doctors and taken over that aspect and reverse the whole healthcare delivery system and by insurance company, hospitals, and hospital subgroups and interested parties, including stock companies and the politicians. So with that behind me, I I I didn't. It's also a fate of luck or something. One of my junior residents told me that by that time, after many 4 or 5 years after passing my hematology board exam, so I do have a hematology board exam, and I am board certified hematologist by American Board of Hematology, which is a sub branch of American Board of Internal Medicine. So you have to take the American Board of Internal Medicine first. After passing it, if you have had enough hematological experience of 2 years of training, then you are eligible for taking American Board of Hematology. Then you pass it. You have a board certificate from the American Board of Internal Hematology. Then, if you still qualify, you can take American Board of Medical Oncology exam. But to qualify medical oncology, nowadays you need at least 3 years of additional oncology training after finishing internal medicine. But that was not there then. Actually, specialty was not there. So how do I become a board certified medical oncologist as well? American board certified by the American Board of Medical Oncology. Because again there was a loophole. Since they started this specialty, they wanted more people join their in the as a numbers. It's all numbers game. Until the critical number is there, they want you. After that, no, they don't want you. That is the principle of delivery of anything in the entire world. It's said and done. I went to a hematology meeting in New York or somewhere. There I met a junior resident he is from Hong Kong, and Chinese guy, absolutely brilliant guy. He is absolutely brilliant. And his English was not that good. His accent was not good. He used to drool. He has a lot of saliva coming out. Style of talking. But he was my junior resident when I was a chief resident in Brooklyn, VA, in early 70s. But he was brilliant. He is brilliant, and he is a board certified uh, hematologist and oncologist like me. And he told me that I can also qualify and get the oncology boards. Why so important to get all these titles? Because hospital by then became smart also. And initially, anybody could treat any cancers. As the subspecialties and all started to sprout out, everybody, hospitals also encouraged and said these things cannot be treated by regular guy like a general internist or a family physician. This should go to the legal and special care for the patient. They have to only go to specialists, something like that. So this is a I rub your back, you rub your back. I scratch your back, you scratch your back. Same phenomenon. So at that point in time, there was a in Virginia Beach where I was working. There is a hospital called Humana Medical Center, which is a private standing hospital. Until then, most of them were county or a state-funded hospital. Again, private business of hospital started with one of the entrepreneurial group called Humana, and I quickly bought a house very close to that because my practice, because thanks to Martin Sachs, who made me to go into medical oncology, practice was building up, so I could afford a nice house close to the hospital. That was very good. But anyway, I did not pass the oncology exam, board exam right away. I flunked. The reason for flunking is they will give you two more chances. I was told about this oncology business just 3 months before that, and I had to apply for that exam. So I just applied for the exam and I got a ticket, hall ticket, what's called admission ticket to go take the exam. And it's interesting. Uh, I, I, I drove from Virginia Beach in my car all the way to Duke to take the exam. That is a medical oncology board exam, I think. Yes, medical oncology board exam. It doesn't matter. So, I was, it was difficult for me because there are a whole bunch of basic sciences and the definitions and all those things. It's so called, it's not a clinical side, there's all the technological side, definition of rad, red, all this, red of units and all those things, questions. And I didn't even know what they were. So that part I flunked, but the other part, so-called clinical, I was in the pass range. So that helped. That gave me an encouragement. If a little bit of brush up, I can catch up with that. And 2 years or 3 years later, I went there and very easily passed the exam and got a certificate on hand. Hospitals and all don't care. They just want us to show a certificate. Whether I flunked before or all doesn't count. So that's the exam I flunked. And I didn't feel good or bad. Just yeah, some people get depressed when they flunk in an exam. Nothing happened, and additional money or some time wasted. Other than that, there's nothing special. Second round, I passed the oncology boards. But those days, I was told one cannot put those displays, those degrees, or this one either in your business card because everybody has to print a business card. That is a small card goes in the pocket, and and the big business pad where your letterhead goes there on the top, and then you write there, dictate, and write so-called love letters to the referring physician, what you did, what's happening, the progress of the patient, and the thank you very much, and all those things they have to write at the bottom. So you can only say Bhaskar Rao, Bhaskar or something. You put your name, medical oncologist, um, and you can write MD. But we are not supposed to write DABIM. That means Diplomat of American Board of Internal Medicine. DABIM bracket, internal medicine. And next line, DABIM bracket, hematology. And next line, DABIM bracket, medical oncology. You are not supposed to do it. You can display your diplomas given that says this so and so is board certified by the American Board of Internal Medicine on such and such a day, and he is a board. That degree or that certificate they will give, and you are allowed to display it in different places of our office, just for patients to look at. That will give the confidence that this doctor is fairly well trained. So I framed my internal medicine board plaque and hematology plaque and oncology plaque, and I stuck it all over in my office in different rooms for the patients to see. But what one can put in front in his card or in his doctor's card, or in his or her uh, letter pad, after doing passing the board exam, one is expected to do 2 years of research work or publish two papers, and then you will be inducted to a called fellowship. So that is, if I pass internal medicine board exam, if I wait for 2 years and showing them that I'm in a good standing, I'm practicing internal medicine, and secondly, I publish one or two uh, papers related to my field in a leading magazine like New England Journal of Internal Medicine or a cancer journal. Then, if two other board certified uh, doctors of same specialty endorse me, then uh, I will become a FACP. That is a fellowship in American College of Fellow of American College of Physicians, FACP, and then same process for medical oncology and hematology. Those things can be done. They are legal and it's really correct to do it. But nobody follows the rules. Particularly, these people go to from here to back to India. They put all kinds of things in front of their name, and nobody is there to verify or do it. And the patient or public is impressed with this all the titles in front of his or her name. But in my case, why did not want all those things at that point in my time is very important to know, because that also turned out to be a business. That also turned out to be a business. If you are a FACP or a fellow of American College of Physician title, you have to pay annual dues for that fellowship group. 200, initially it was $50, now it's probably $500. Everything they increase the price, but no, nothing. You don't do anything. You don't earn anything. Those people who are managing, they eat up the money for whatever reason. So I didn't want the title, and I didn't want to pay the money for them. So that didn't happen. But what do I have in front of my name, which I can legally display? One time thing, there is no annual recurrent fees or nothing. That is called FRCP within brackets C. C for Canada. That is Fellow of Royal College of Physicians within brackets. C means for Canada. FRCP. That I have. And that is legal. There is no recurrent annual fee. One time you pass the exam, you get that title, degree, certificate. You can display it and also put it in your business card. So when I first started, I used to write Doc B, mm, uh, MD, FRCP within bracket C. So I displayed that title also on my wall in my practice. I had my own. Initially, I rented a place. Then later on, it was my own suite. Same in the Virginia Beach area. So, but the problem is when I had that, when the patient comes, I have to spend full time with the patient. I don't talk social. How is the weather and what is this private life, things like that. Because initially I had a fairly big practice, I guess. Big means 5 or 6 or 10 patients a day. Later on became only 2 patients a day, something like that. But 10 or 15 patients coming, you cannot, you have to time is of essence. You have to roll it, otherwise patients will be waiting there. With all that in mind, these patients will come, they won't tell their problems. They will simply talk, light talk, and then they look at my diplomas hung all over office wall and say, when did you go to Canada? Do you have Canada? Are you from Canada? All those things, you know. So then I said, this is too much. So I removed all of them and put it away. And then I had a bare wall in my office in the later half of my private practice there. So with that in mind, that's how it is. How starting with one, you become something else. And there also healthcare delivery system is different. And simultaneously, parallel to that, in the beginning, I had absolutely no interest in treating the solid malignancy patients, so-called medical oncology patients. And since I accepted only adult medical oncology patients, they include breast cancer, lung cancer, colon cancer, prostate cancer, and ovarian uterus and ovarian cancers come later on, and these are all the common things I could treat. And in men, testicular cancer, that is very very important for me to mention that, because all the advances of the combined treatment schedule and everything started with in the solid malignancy side is secondary to treatment advances in the treatment of breast cancer, and even before that, cancer of the testicle, male testicle. There they found out the combining therapy drastically improves the response and cure rate and reduces the morbidity and other things associated with your cancer treatment medicine itself. Those most of them are chemotherapy medicines. Subsequently, by chance or by so many medical research, they found out so many other agents for cancer, both in breast cancer and uh, other Hodgkin's and other solid cancers. And this is by sometimes by chance the researcher found out, and particularly a medicine called Gleevec, I think, that is for giving for leukemia or something. And then the biological therapy started, like immunotherapy, biological therapy, all those things started because of the cancer research. And lot of technology to find early cancer detection came, both in the radiology side as well as the blood side, blood test side, trying to find out very early stage cancer by blood tests. And some of blood tests are so sensitive, you don't even know where the cancer is. That's early you can find it as far as we speak now. And Moffat is a big center here where my wife goes for chemo cancer treatment. They advertise on the regular public thing, they have such tests now available, and so come and get this screening test or something like that. They advertise as if they are the pioneers. There are so many people who are pioneers in this field. And I know a girl, her name is a lady by name Sarah. She has been doing this work nearly 6 years ago, and she is in University of Iowa in the research cancer field, and she was going to launch her product as a initial public offering to detect simply by blood tests, see what type of a cancer, where it started from, and what medicines you can use specifically for because of the testing, biological testing of those a few cancer cells taken by a regular blood test, and so on and so forth. So that technology is so advanced. But there are, in particularly in see, money is when there is a volume. So volume is in breast cancer, and also the equality for women and the fighting thing. The nation has to give enough funds to breast cancer research, even though there is even though there could be more money in lung cancer, for example, something, or a colon cancer. So like that, so the research is really helping. And This male chauvinism is slowly trying to be suppressed because of the education of the ladies. So, with that in mind, um, the advances are they swing according to the demands of the public and the politicians and drug makers. Just to give one example, there was a medicine called thalidomide. Thalidomide was approved by FDA about 40 years ago because it used to control the first trimester problems like problems like nausea, vomiting, and all those things, or second trimester, first trimester, I think. And they, in a hurry, they released the medicine, and it probably was sold for $2, and you give about for $2, one pill twice a day, perhaps for 3 months of early pregnancy, where they get a pregnancy symptom like nausea and things like that. It is approved, but about 10 or 1 year later, soon after the release of it, so many ladies took this medicine, thalidomide, and they gave birth to babies with its major abnormalities, with like one limb and loss of two limbs, everything. And immediately the drug company was sued, and they recovered some money from them, and this medicine was banned. But that same thalidomide and the products related to that line of compounds, now I'll confine myself to only to thalidomide. Thalidomide, it is now sold as a brand as Thalabid or something like that, and is effective in bone cancer called multiple myeloma, but also is effective in many solid cancers, including breast cancer. But they are not using the original thalidomide. There are analogs, but the principle is was growth. It is a growth factor inhibitor. That means it suppresses the growth of blood vessels. Blood vessels in the tumor or a cancer, malignant cancer, grow in a very malignant tumors and cancers eat up a lot more oxygen, and they have a lot more blood going into them. That's how they feed on your nutrition and they grow. And this medicine um, clogs all those arteries and arterioles going into that cancer mass or tumor mass, and that's why the cancer will starve to death. So that is a second pronged approach. One is chemotherapy, which chemicals which directly hit the cancer cells, growing cancer cells, in one mechanism, and this is the other one called growth factor inhibitors. They produce, they starve the cancer cells to death by depriving their nutrition and oxygen. And then immunotherapy. That means we have a cell called as if you why do you get COVID vaccine? Because your body gets immunity, and immunity will prevent the next attack of COVID. Similarly, you can have a cancer vaccines, which will not only prevent getting new cancers, also suppress the some of the very small quantity of cancer sitting here and there, wherever they can hide and try to live. They come back later on, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years from the time of everybody is thinking they are cured. He would show up, hey, I'm here, I'm ready to kill you, something like that. So that is called growth factor. This is called immunotherapy, and there are so many subtypes, and companies are making constant research in this field, not only to make money. That is the basic intent. If there is no money, there is no research. So, and sometimes the stupid cancer centers and all, they have research money allocated to them, and they have to spend the money. If they don't spend the money for that budget year, next year they won't give they don't get any more research. So for that reason alone, what they do, they churn up some junk reports. Whatever junk they comes out in the 2 years, they come out and churn up 4 or 5 articles, and they tell even deserves publication in a big medical journal, but they put it in some journals to show the people that they did their job, so that they can get more funding for the next fiscal year or whatever budget. Under them, so many people doing work. So their philosophy is, if you don't get the money, goes waste. So let's use it and put something. Even if false is okay, as long as it is acceptable. Like that, so much of concepts are going on right now, and I was a part of it myself. I did not waste money, but I had access to all the investigational medicine myself. And when I was doing that job, the building my practice, I also used to boast to my colleagues and referral doctors, oh, I'm a part of that group and part of this group. And the one is called ECOG, Eastern Oncology Group or something, and Virginia, another VOG, Virginia Oncology Network, etc. And then those days it was bureaucracy was so little. When I even before that I was in investigational medicines, because simply I'd say I'm a medical oncologist. I want this new medicine is in phase 2 or phase 3. That means it's ready to be released. This, but I have a patient with, for example, testicular cancer. Can I have it? They have to send it to us just because of asking and a medical oncologist. That was so simple used to be. And I do getting some free medications for testicular cancer from the research company, and give that same medicine in a modified way. In other words, I could not even give this standard, was the what is the dose standard it was recommending at that time, but I simply reduced the dose, because the high dose, like what they recommended at that time, according to the magazine, if I'd given, patient would have surely died, because I didn't have all the support system for the complications associated with that high dose. But my modification of that dose is also not considered to be legal. But there was not too much of tapeism, etc. at that time. So I modified that with my own intuition and gut feeling, and gave the patient, and the patient probably got cured of it. I don't have follow-ups, but either cured of it or lived for a long time. Statistically speaking, better than any other persons of the same stage testicular cancer at that point in time. The reason I'm again mentioning it is that it has to be so simple and easy those days, with all the bureaucracy and everything. With so many interest groups, things are getting tougher. And when that came to that point in time, I said, enough is enough, and I retired in 2010. Between the last 10 years of practice, I had a great lady who worked for me. Her name is Cindy Jones, and in my next episode, I will only focus about Cindy and her contribution for of contribution to the field of medical oncology, particularly to breast and colon cancer, as well as breast and uh, breast and ovarian cancer, as well as colon cancer. So there is a separate story will come, episode will come. That episode will be Cindy, and next episode perhaps is Jyoti, that is my wife. So let's leave it there for this episode.